Thank you for joining Simply Cooking with Shawn. If you're new here and you love food-related content, you're in the right place. So like, share, and subscribe. And when you do, click that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And to all of my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your continued support. In today's video, I will be preparing sweet potato pie. I will be making 6 pies in total. So I have approximately 12 pounds of potatoes that are baked in the oven, granulated sugar, brown sugar, evaporated milk, butter, eggs, ground cinnamon, vanilla flavoring, ground nutmeg, and of course, pie crust. The first thing that I'm going to do is to get the potatoes peeled and into the bowl here. And you can boil them if you so desire. I prefer baking them so they don't get waterlogged. And I bake the potatoes at 375 degrees until they were soft. And of course you want to let them cool before you start peeling them so that you'll be able to handle them. Now that I've got my potatoes all peeled and I have my hand mixer here, and I am going to mix the potatoes with the hand mixer to remove the strings. And as I go along, I will show you how the beaters accumulate the strings. And as I accumulate them, you will see me rinse them off into the sink. And as you can see there, the strings that the beaters are removing from the potatoes. And removing the strings from your potatoes help to make your filling smooth. And so I'll rinse this off and I'll keep beating it until the majority of the strings are removed. So I've got my potatoes mixed up. These little strings here is what I was getting out of it. As you can see there, it was way more than this, but this is just a sample of what came out of it. This is an important step to use your hand mixer to mix the potatoes before you add the remaining ingredients so that you get this excess string out of it. So what I'm going to do now, I've melted the 3 sticks of butter and I've cracked 6 eggs. So I'm going to whisk the eggs with my fork and I'm going to set this aside. To the potatoes, I'm going to go ahead and add some sugar. I'm not measuring the sugar. When I make this, I make it by sight and by taste. So I'm just going to put some sugar in here. And I'm starting out, I would say, about 2 cups of granulated sugar. And then I'm going to add about a cup of the brown sugar. Okay? Then I'm going to add a can of evaporated milk and the 3 sticks of butter. Going to add some ground cinnamon. I would say about a tablespoon. And then the nutmeg, just a couple dashes, probably about a half of a teaspoon. You want to go very light on the nutmeg because it has a strong flavor. And then you want to go in with your vanilla flavoring. So I'm going to add in a couple teaspoons of that to start with. And I'm going to go in with my mixer to get this all incorporated together. So I'm going to give this a taste to see where the flavor is before I add anything else to it. Okay, so I'm going to add some heavy whipping cream, maybe about 1/8 of a cup. I'm going to add just a tad bit more cinnamon. Just a little bit. And a little bit more nutmeg. More sugar. Just a little bit. That's probably about a couple tablespoons more of the granulated sugar. And about the same for the brown sugar. And I'm going to mix that up. I'm going to taste it again. So after tasting that, it's good to go. So the last thing that I'm going to do is add the eggs. And I'm going to mix that into the mixture. And this is all ready to fill the pie crust that you see the texture, creamy pie filling. All right, so I've got my pie shells here, and so I'm going to take them from the package, and I have my oven set to 375 degrees. So I'm just going to take my fork and I'm just going to prick the pie crust throughout randomly. Doesn't have to be any particular way, just randomly prick it. And if your pie crust ever crack, just wet the tips of your finger and press it into the cracks and just kind of squeeze the dough to close the cracks up. Okay, with that all done, I am going to put these into the oven about 8 to 10 minutes to just get the dough cooking before I add the filling. I've got my pie shells removed from the oven after a few minutes. I'm going to use this measuring cup to scoop up the filling to fill the pie shells. And I want to kind of fill them evenly. And so I'm going to start off with just 2 cups per shell. Now these are deep dish. So I'm going to put 3 into those. And as you can see, I'm doing heaping cups. So it's a little more than 2 cups per pie shell and a little more than 3 per the deep dish. Okay. And I'm going to use my spatula to smooth the filling in the crust. All right, so I have them all filled. So I'm going to put them into the oven and let them bake for about 40 minutes or so. I will check on them periodically though to make sure that they're not burning. So into the oven, let them bake. These came out very nicely. As you can see, the pie crust is filled to the max. No skimpy pies here. These came out perfectly. They're cooling. Once they have fully cooled, I will cut them to let you see how they look on the inside. This is really easy to do. I encourage you to give it a try for your next holiday meal or family get together. As I was cutting into this pie, my family was ready to get a piece. And as you can see, it came out perfectly as I mentioned earlier. If you would like to try this recipe, I will leave a list of the ingredients in the description box below. Remember to like, share, and comment. That concludes today's video. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, be blessed.